Well, hi, everybody. It's another Conversations With, and I'm delighted today to have with me from the Wing Hospital Auxiliary. Jackie is with me today. Jackie, how are you?
I am great. Thank you for having me here today.
Well, it's my great joy because, as I've said, and we were chatting, that I had the great experience in my life to serve on way back in the 70s and 80s, to have the opportunity to serve at Wing Memorial Hospital on the board of directors back then, and the same in Ware at Mary Lane. So I'm familiar with what goes on, but I know that you got a big event coming up, but I want to talk about that, and we'll talk about that. But I also want to get to the point where some point before we finish our little broadcast today, to talk about auxiliaries and a specific in Wing, but at all hospitals, and how vital they are for the success of the hospital. And again, I just want to be on record as being a strong advocate for community hospitals, because of course it saves the trips to Springfield and to Worcester, and walking into strange situations with new doctors that you've never met before, and they don't know who you are. And I always argued that one of the great things about community hospitals like Wing is it's almost like the old TV show Cheers, where everybody knows your name. You know, you walk in and they say, "Hi, Mr. Bond, how are you?" And it makes you feel good.
Yeah,
but
you're absolutely right.
let's talk about the fundraising luncheon that you have coming up on September 16th.
That's
so let's
correct.
chat about that.
Okay. Well, this fundraiser is to add to our coffers for the Wing Auxiliary. But the fundraiser is at the Sturbridge Host Hotel. It is on the 16th of September. And the time frame is like 11:30. The doors will open until 3 p.m. And at that function, Jimmy Maz will be the entertainer. It is a luncheon, so I believe chicken cordon bleu is on the menu for that luncheon.
I can figure right in.
Okay.
We got chicken piccata, tossed green salad, rolls, butter, vegetables, Napoleon, roasted red potato, apple crisp.
Yes.
What a great time of
With
year.
ice cream,
With
yes.
ice cream for dessert, and of course coffee, tea, and there's a cash bar, and there's beer, wine, and soft drinks. So
That's correct.
You've got a great lunch that folks can enjoy, and then they can relax and watch and enjoy Jimmy Maz.
That's correct. And I don't know, for anyone who has not had the pleasure of seeing Jimmy Maz perform, he's really a fun guy. You'll enjoy it tremendously. He does a little bit of clowning, comedy. He's this particular venue we've chosen. Jimmy is taking us on a tour of the United States via the hometown of all these famous artists we know so well from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And so I think you'll really have a great time. I myself have seen him twice and had a ball. Yeah. He loves people. He loves talking to the audience. He goes around the room. He chats with people. So he's really a good entertainer, typical old Las Vegas style, but I know you'll enjoy him, and I do hope you'll come. The tickets, as if I didn't mention, are $30 a person.
Yeah, but you get a great lunch.
Absolutely.
And entertainment, and you're helping a great cause.
That's right. That's right.
A new emergency room facility.
That's true.
At Wing.
That's true.
To expand that property.
Absolutely. The project is actually ongoing, and I'm not privy to any of that information, but the Wing Auxiliary has already contributed $75,000 to this project, and we have a pledge in for another $125,000, which is part of what the money we raise in the coming year or two is going to go towards. Also, one of our really, it's one of my pet things anyway, is the scholarship fund. We believe that if you can give something towards young people, seniors graduating who are pursuing the medical field, if you can give them something towards their education, that maybe they'll consider coming back at some point to their community. So we look at this as kind of a community thing, you know.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that, Jackie. I want to tell you about that. I have a great doctor at Mass General, Alan Gorel, who's been my physician since 1984. He and I are great pals, but he teaches at Harvard Medical School, and he teaches there 3 days a week. He's a consultant to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota.
Oh.
He's testified before Congress, just finished his 7th book on internal medicine. But the point is, I go down every 6 months for my physical and my checkup. And he loves me because he brings the kids over from Harvard Medical School, the young kids, and of course they do the physical. Now they do a better job than they check everything, you know. And I tell Dr. Goral that I love the kids. Boy, they don't miss a thing, and he laughs. But anyway, I was talking to this delightful young lady who was in medical school at Harvard, and she and I were chatting when she was checking me over, and she has a boyfriend who's also in medical school. And they plan to get married, and she was telling me that by the time she finishes, the day she has to hang up her shingle that says she's an MD, she will owe $250,000 for her education. So to your point, anytime you can help these young people who want to pursue medicine, whether it's nurse practitioners, registered nursing, now they have physician's assistant,
right,
and they have varying degrees, and even doctors themselves. The amount of money, like she was telling me, she says, you know, Mr. Vaughn, she said, between my husband and I, my husband-to-be and I, we'll owe $500,000. Do you know how much work we're going to have to do just to pay that back? You know?
A lot.
And she says, you know, and so I'm so thrilled to hear you talk about that, Jackie.
You know, I got to tell you something. Not this year, 2017, but 2016, I happened to be on the board that was screening applicants. And we actually gave a scholarship to someone who was pursuing veterinary school. And one of the reasons, I live in Brimfield, so there isn't a neighbor that doesn't have
a pet,
a chicken, a cow, a dog, a cat, you name it, that
horses,
we have it,
yeah,
horses, you know, and I think that's just as important, I really do, and we also eat that food,
right?
Chickens.
And not only that, but you know, I have to share with you, we have a couple of veterinarians who we've had on the program, and I know this, people love their pets.
Absolutely.
And you know, these folks who come on and talk about taking care of them. We like to do one in the spring going into the summer to remind folks not to leave them in the car. Remember, they got a big fur coat on.
Absolutely.
You know, and you got to remember that. But I'm so thrilled that you were able to, you know, branch out a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And reward somebody who's taken a little different track, but a
Right.
very important one.
Yeah, which actually supports what you had said, that there's several areas under
Yeah.
that umbrella of the medical field.
Yeah.
Today, you know, and technology is it's just out there, and they really need a good
Well, I know,
education.
you know, you talk about an emergency room, and I know that you go into an emergency room, and now they have a physician, and then they have a couple of PAs and a couple of nurse practitioners who can actually take, you know, so that doctor, where they used to be spread thin, now he can work with them, and they can see 3 or 4 patients at once rather than have to wait for him to walk around.
He'll cut that time
That's
down
right.
a little, because
And
no matter where you go,
that's right.
in an ER,
That's
it's
right.
time.
And you know, it depends on the whole situation.
Yeah.
But it's so important. And again, you talk about emergency rooms, and in this case, this great fundraiser that you're having on September 16th at the Sturbridge Host, featuring Jimmy Maz, the funds are going to go to help you complete your commitment to the program, to in fact expand the emergency facility. And you know, it's almost like the first line of defense.
Absolutely.
And they get in there, and they're very, very important for the community at large. And I know in the case of Wing, you know, you have communities like Belchertown, like Munson, you know, like parts of Warren, and the villages of Palmer even. Palmer is got Three Rivers, Thorndike, and Bondsville. And in all of those areas, it's nice to know that if somebody gets sick or there's a bad accident or something happens, they can get there in record time, and there's somebody there waiting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help them. Whether it's a bad cut, a kid breaks his arm playing ball, whatever it is. What a nice feeling to know that you've got a local
Absolutely.
community hospital that you can get to where they have a great facility that they can help you, rather than having to jump in a car and drive 25 miles to Springfield or Worcester or wherever, or Hartford, and go get help. And so it's so important. And that's why it makes this program that you're running at the Host on the 16th of September, you know, a great opportunity, not only for folks to get together and have fun, number one, have a nice luncheon on a Saturday, number two, get with friends, number three,
Yeah.
but also knowing that part of the money that they've paid for that ticket is going to support the auxiliary who supports the hospital.
Right,
You know,
right.
and that's
Yep.
very important.
Yep, that is where all the profit for any fundraiser we do. And we have, the auxiliary has, a few standard fundraisers that started a long time ago.
Yeah.
We have our January lotto calendar. Usually somebody's, well, they used to be in the lobby, but right now that's a little difficult with the construction. But one way or another, we get the message out there,
Right.
and they're usually $10 a card, and the payout is usually pretty good. We also have the Tree of Love, which is something that also started several years ago. And basically, at Christmas time, people pay for an ornament to be put on this tree, and it's really a dedication to the ones we love, those who have passed on. And we do well with that as well. But the main fundraiser that people may not know is the gift shop. The gift shop at Bay State Wing is run by volunteers from the auxiliary. And it's open Monday to Friday, 9:30 to 4:30 every week. And possibly they're closed on holidays.
Yeah.
There are volunteers doing this, and we just are so grateful for them. If anybody really is interested, you can always call the gift shop in being a volunteer, or even to join our auxiliary. This is our 65th year, and we have 65 active members. We have a list of emeritus members. But that's not part of the 65. There's probably 10 or so emeritus members. So I don't want you to think it's just a 65. But it's great to have that support. And through the years, they have done, the membership has done so much volunteering for, fundraisers. We've had dances and plays, and, I don't know if you remember, but years ago, I wasn't part of this then. Years ago, the actual members of the auxiliary got involved in the play.
Oh, right.
And they had a great time, So, we've sold plants and flowers, and fundraising is a challenge, especially today. It's not the same as it was in the 60s or the 50s. The guidelines, all that, everything's different.
Well, and one of the things that I've often shared with people is a funny thing happened. Back in 1939, a fellow named Einstein, quite a bright guy, he made a statement, and this is what he said in 1939. The more technology we create, the more idiots we're going to make. Okay? Now, he said that in 1939, and computers and cell phones have changed the world. Nothing is the same anymore.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, what a big thing. Great thumbs. The kids got great thumbs. I had a great friend who was an English teacher, and she teaches at high school, and she told me she's scared to death. She said, I'll tell you why. She said, because, I can tell you this, all the sophomores and juniors and seniors, they got the greatest thumbs in America. The problem is, they have no vocabulary, because all they know is codes, LOL, BT, and she said, they can't write a sentence, and they can't write an essay, and they can't even carry on a conversation with another person because they're sitting next to each other and they text each other.
I know.
She said, and I've watched it, and I get a kick out of. I'll go shopping, and you're in the line at the aisle at the Stop and Shop or the wherever you go with the market baskets or the Shaws or wherever it is, Big Y, and people are around. on their cell phones walking up and down the aisle. And you know what the most asked question in America is today? Where are you? You answer the phone, they, where are you? What do you care where I am? What do you need? You know. But the point I'm making is that to your point, things have changed dramatically. And a lot of the things you used to be able to do, you really can't do anymore.
Yeah.
It's because everything has changed. And so it does. You have to get more creative and think of new and exciting ideas and new things to do. Like for instance, this great opportunity that folks have to come out for the Jimmy Maz program. A great luncheon. It's at the Sturbridge Host Hotel on Saturday, the 16th of September. And the tickets are only $30 a person. And they can get them at the Wing Auxiliary Gift Shop right at the hospital.
And I think I have a telephone number there.
Yes, you
for
do.
The gift shop.
413-245-1156. Let me give you that again. You know what always makes me laugh? Someone will call you up and they'll say, give me a call back, and they read their number so fast, you can't get it. And so whenever I give out a phone number, I always tell people, do it like this: 413-245-1156. Because you got to get a pen, got to get a piece of paper, and you got to write down 413-370-8169, or you can call 413-245-1156, and that's Joan.
Yes.
And Joan will answer, and she'll get your tickets.
Yes, she will.
Or they can get a hold of Jacqueline J. Mitchell at charter.net, and that's got to be
me.
you.
That's correct.
And it's a great, great event, and you'll have a fun day.
Absolutely.
And you'll have a wonderful time. You'll have a great lunch, and it'll be a beautiful day. And the best thing about that is you're really making a contribution to the expansion of the emergency facilities at Bay State Wing. And the good news is, it's only going to help you. Or somebody, the day may come where you, someone you love, someone you care about, your next door neighbor, somebody is going to need to go to that emergency room. And what a great feeling it's going to be that you can go, it's there, it's ready for you, and they can help you.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And also, if for some reason or other you're not able to get through or on any of those numbers, like I say, if you do email me, you will get an immediate response. I'm almost glued to my computer when I'm home.
See what I said?
With business.
Computers have changed everything.
With
see?
business. Actually with wing business most of the time.
Well, I have to give you credit. I get up early, and I've had friends of mine get what? I get up about 4:30, and I watch the local news on Channel 5 and have my coffee and my munchie and crunchy for my breakfast. And I get a lot done in the morning. It's very quiet, it's peaceful. So I'm up early, and so if people have emailed me, I'll get on the computer at 4:45, and of course I answer them. It gives them the time, and I'll have friends of mine say, "What are you up all night? You answered me at 5:05 a.m." I said, "No." I said, "That's when I sit down and go through my messages and see what I need." But I say, because you and I commuted this morning back and forth on the computer, and you got right back to me, which was great. And and I enjoy that. So it is. But having said that, one of the things that I know from experience from my own life, when I had the opportunity to serve on a couple of different board of directors for hospitals, how vital and how important the auxiliary really is, and the outstanding job they do.
Yeah.
In most cases, they do run the gift shop. At least every place I know, that's what they do. And they have tremendous events, and they're wonderful people, and they work so hard and so diligently on behalf of the facility that it's so important. And I know over the years, you took the time to send me a bunch of information, and it's amazing how many different things that you folks have taken care of over the years that you did, and you know, equipment, furniture, ongoing programs. You purchase hospital beds, high-tech ventilators. In 2003 and 2004, you established and furnished a chapel.
Yep.
A chapel in the
Yeah,
hospital.
and it was so wonderful because there really was no place for someone to go to talk to a
Right.
priest or whatever.
Right.
For
A
consultation.
friend of mine was at Wing last year for a few days on a hospitalization situation, and I had a chance to go over to visit, and I did go in the chapel, and I said, wow, what a neat, because I hadn't been there for years, and I just sort of, before I went to visit her, I walked all around, and I looked up at all the plaques and all the donations, and some of the names over the years, Kenny Sanderson, who I knew from Sanderson McLeod, and all the gang from the old Tampax Corporation that had their offices and plant in Three Rivers, and the Joe Gzepka, who had the insurance company, and I see a lot of these names of friends of mine that I remember the old Palmer Savings Bank, which became Country Bank, and so I was looking at the different plaques, and it was great. It was like going down memory lane for me to see some of the, and Len Walker from the old Walker Chevrolet, and a lot of these companies that really are gone now. But those folks who back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s were the stalwarts of the community. I remember the old Palmer National Bank, which was right on the corner in downtown Palmer, and the Curtises, who Mr. Curtis was the president, and the great support that they gave over the years to that facility. So it's and I was so impressed with that chapel, and I did have a chance to stop in. And then there's the second floor patients ward, the expansion, and
yeah, at one time it was just one side, one side of the floor, and we helped towards the expansion of that.
And a cardiology suite, which is, wow. Today it's so important, because when you're talking about a heart, and you got an issue, you don't have time. They don't have time to get you to Springfield or Worcester.
Yep.
And to know that there's a suite and a lab there, and it's how important are those things, and
very important.
And so it's a great facility, and I know what a great job the auxiliary does.
Thank you very much for all of us.
Well, and it's true, and you often sit back. I remember when I sat on the board, and the jobs that they used to do, and whenever you needed something done, you'd run to the auxiliary, and they were willing to do it and volunteer and help out with things that you were doing, and I've often sat back and said, as a former member of boards of hospitals, where would they be without it? I mean, you look at this wonderful list, folks, right here. That this is just one page of 3 or 4, and it just goes on and it goes on, and it's pages and pages of it, and you look at it and you say, wow. If it wasn't for the auxiliary, those wouldn't exist. Those expansions, those rooms, the chapel, and now an expansion of the emergency room,
which is fantastic.
That's. I mean, that's so important to have that facility available, and I know when I was on the board, in addition not only to the local communities, but the number of times the state police would bring people in off the turnpike, where there was a bad accident.
Right off
they'd come right off exit 8, and that was the next nearest facility, and they'd zip them into Wing to take advantage of the emergency room, because it was the closest facility, and they'd come right down the ramp and go right down the back way and come in down Shearer Street and cut over, it was a quick route for them.
Yeah.
So that all of those things are so important, and
that's why it's so important that
people,
get involved, and if not come to this fundraiser, even make a donation.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. There are a lot of times, like I get invited to things all the time, and sometimes you're committed,
Yeah.
you just can't go, and you sit down and you say, look, I can't make it, but here's a few bucks that'll help you out.
That's right.
Because that becomes all profit.
Absolutely.
Like if somebody
Absolutely.
can't go and they send you $25, well, you don't have to feed them. So that $25 is clear to the bottom. That's a complete, total gift. And even the $30.
Right.
If they can't make it and they send you the $30 and say, gee, I'd love to go, but I'm busy that day, but here's some help. And that donation is 100% to the good.
Right. I even recently said to someone who expressed that they couldn't go, and I said, well, what do you think about purchasing a ticket and give it to your neighbor who's a senior who would love to go,
Right.
who either can't afford it,
That's right.
or maybe even a second ticket, so maybe they can't get there on their own, they need a ride.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but again,
What a great idea. If you can't go, buy a ticket, and I'll bet you if they tell you, hey, I can't go, but give it to somebody, you know somebody who can use it.
Well, that was the response I got. Well, who would you give it to? How would you know who to get? I said, Palmer Senior Center first,
Yeah,
and then I would go to Jimmy's hometown,
yeah,
their senior center, and then just generally senior centers around the community.
That's right.
And there has to be one senior that would love to go.
love to go.
And just can't afford it.
Can't afford it.
So, but again, any donation, and if you really wanted to just donate to the scholarship fund, write a check, put a note that it's
Yep.
strictly for the scholarship fund, and I
They can
assure
drop
you
it off
it
at
will
the,
go there.
and drop it off at the gift shop.
Drop it off at the gift shop.
Yeah, and you take a ride up to the hospital, and if you want a ticket, you can go there and get one, and as Jackie said, if you can't go yourself, there's somebody who can.
Yeah.
And if not, then you go and enjoy it yourself,
Yeah.
and have a great day, because it's a wonderful program with a great lunch. It's Saturday, September 16th. Starts 11:30 and runs till about 3 in the afternoon. So it's a 3-hour event. You'll have a great time. You can relax. You can enjoy yourself. You can chat with your neighbors. Many times you go to these things and you bump into someone you haven't seen for 3 years.
That's right. That's right.
And I always tell people when I see somebody I haven't seen for a while, I say, "Hey, when'd you get out of jail? How are you?" And they'll look at me,
I love it. I love it.
Gee, I haven't seen you since we were in jail together, But the thing is that it's fun to get out. It's fun to see
Absolutely.
people, and what a way to have a great program.
Right, and actually, the Wing Gift Shop will have some items
Yeah.
for sale at the, just to give you a flavor of the type of merchandise we have. But I'll tell you, if you're ever in the area, instead of going to the mall, go into Palmer,
Yep.
Bay State Wing, up on the first floor. It's right opposite, if you're familiar with it, it's right opposite the cafe or same-day surgery. There's tables and chairs out there. Go on in. I mean, they've got some really nice items. They do take credit cards. We don't do checks anymore in the gift shop.
Right.
But we do credit cards, and cash is always
Nothing beats it.
so.
Nothing. In fact, I
But
would.
really, you'll really find the gift shop, if you've never been there, quite interesting. We have a lovely lady that does displays, and she orders the merchandise. She's just fantastic, and of course everybody helps out.
Oh, sure.
All the volunteers who are in the gift shop help. I'm actually not a volunteer, but I do help out in the gift shop.
Right. See, there you go.
I'm
There
a
you-
volunteer for as a treasurer, but
Right.
not for the gift shop.
Right. Well, Jackie, I want to take a time to thank you for stopping by. It was delightful.
Oh,
and I'm
thank you
thrilled
so
because
much.
it gave me a chance to revisit my past and to be able to say to folks how important these community hospitals are and how vital the auxiliaries are. A major, major part of any community hospital is the auxiliary, and the outstanding, and you got a flavor of it. Just listening to some of the things Jackie talked about today, of all the things that they really do. So I want to thank you all for watching. Jackie, thank you for stopping by and
thank
telling
you
us
for
about
having
it.
us.
And here it is right here. Don't miss it.
Hey, can I
It's a
say
lot-
one more thing?
Quick.
Quick. We used to have a Winnie Wing doll. If anybody knows where one is still available, can you let us know? We'd like to rekindle that fundraiser.
Good. There you are. And that's it, folks. That's another
Thank you.
Conversations With.